You are entering the cosmos.
Okay, cadets, welcome to another episode of General Howitzer's Big Monster Briefing Room. It was not Tep Gremlins this time. It was Alan's fault. So he was running late, got stuck in traffic. So we waited for him. We were not going to wait for him, but then we got a message saying, hey, I'm in traffic, I'm almost there. So we decided to wait for him. So here we are. So I just want to say that if I could dance to that new theme song that Diane Marie Coll has created for us, I would. If I could find a way to dance to that, I would do it. I love it so much. But I realized, and I love our little vampire. I love that. That I added a few weeks ago. However, I realized that the Godzilla dance is too long. I have to trim that down. It was half the time in the original credits, and I got to trim that down and put something else in there. Maybe some more Gargantua. I like the green Gargantua, and I love his sound. Anyway, I digress. Tonight we're going to do today I should say, we're going to do another werewolf movie, which means we have our guest Alan Hops in the studio. Let's bring up Millie Hazzard first.
Hello, General. Thank you so much.
Sorry, I should have brought you out during that whole diatribe that I just did.
No, it was wonderful. It was excellent. I want to greet all the cadets, and we're so happy that Alan was here. And I just want to say that we were running late anyway. Alan was not really that late. I was having problems with the PowerPoint. There was all kinds of tech. It wasn't his fault. There were tech gremlins, and Alan really just came in right when we were ready to go anyway. So just wanted to say that.
There was no tech gremlins this time. I was proud of the fact that we didn't have tech gremlins.
Well, there was PowerPoint tech gremlins. Remember, the PowerPoint was corrupted, and it just kept giving me problem, and I was like pressing on it over and over again.
And it went at what time?
I really don't know. I didn't look, but it was. But we were late. Is what I'm saying is that
right
we were
at 6
late.
o'clock, it cleared itself. It was like magical.
Okay.
It was like, oh my God, it cleared itself just in time. And I sound great. You sound great. Hey, where's our guest?
All right. Well, let's not worry about it because he's a very, very, very important guest.
But we are so happy to have him here.
We're so happy to have him here.
We will wait for this man.
I would wait 16 hours for this man. Are you kidding me? He's amazing.
Such an authority on scares and werewolf. Let's go ahead and bring him up. Alan Hops.
Come on up. Alan, thank you for being here. Thank you so much.
All right. So I have a couple quick notes. First, I have recovered from the bus that ran over me that General Howitzer just drove, blaming me for being late. Even though it was my fault, I've recovered from the bus strike. However, I want to also say that you can never have too much Godzilla dancing.
Okay.
But if you have to replace it, it should be the scene where King Kong versus Godzilla. He shoves the tree down Godzilla's throat. That's one of my favorite pieces of movie history.
The real scene or the puppet scene?
I really feel like that should.
Because I love the little puppet part of that fight in that movie. That's like better than the actors in the suit fighting, I think.
There's so much to love.
Agreed. Let's also give a little shout out to our friend Nix Herrera, who won an Emmy last night for his special effects work on Stranger Things.
Yes. Got to work with Nick a long time ago, and still very good friends. Awesome dude.
Yes, I'm so happy for him and his crew. Well deserved.
Today's also a quick revelation. I think I never peeled the film off of my camera. Now we're good. It's clean now.
I can hear little demons laughing in the background.
Yes. Yes, I have worker bees working on monster stuff while that's happening.
Okay. So back the last time that we were together, we were doing The Howling. And we were talking about different werewolf movies that would be interesting to do. And we talked about this one, which was the Hammer Films The Curse of the Werewolf. Yeah. There's his eyes right there. The crying werewolf. Cries.
Hey, yes. So much wet eyes. Contacts are hard back then. Like they were glass. They were glass. Yeah, they were glass contacts.
Oh my gosh.
You would cry too.
That would explain why his eyes are so red. He needs some clear eyes. Takes place in Spain, which is an interesting choice.
Was this a scary font in the 60s?
I don't know.
Because
I don't see it particularly scary. It looks like something that should be in a comedy movie, but again, agreed with you.
It's like a laugh-in font.
It's different. And this was like 1961 before Laugh-In even came out, but I'm sure they used this font. It looks kind of Jethro Bodine like he painted it.
It does.
Anyway, before we get started here in the timeline, this is an impressive werewolf design. I will definitely give you that. I do have some issue in the fact that there is so little werewolf in this movie. A lot of buildup.
Oliver Reed's a big star, and they wanted to use a lot of Oliver Reed. Even in the makeup, you can tell, hey, that's Oliver Reed.
That's an Oliver Reed werewolf.
And I hate saying this every time I'm on, but this is one of my favorite Wolfman movies. Now, I know it's called Curse of the Werewolf, but he's very much a Wolfman because he's tragic.
He's a Wolfman.
Yes. Whereas The Howling was definitely a werewolf, and this is definitely a Wolfman.
Right. The more wolfy it is, the more like a wolf it is, then it's a werewolf.
When we get to his look, like when we get to see him, I have some things to say because I think it's pretty awesome.
It's going to be a while.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yep.
There's a lot of build up to that last 10 minutes. I'm telling you. Okay. And again, a lot of interesting decisions as to how he might have become a werewolf, the reasons why. That's what's most interesting about this movie. It's definitely a very superstitious kind of angle on how it happened.
So Spain in the 1500s, they were a little werewolf nuts in the 1500s, and there were estimated 70,000 people burned at the stake for being a werewolf.
Wow, that's worse than the Salem witch trials.
Well, way worse. But that fervor and that werewolf craziness of the late 1500s in Spain is what caused, like, that spark kept going and ended up kind of becoming the Salem witch trials. It was witchcraft and werewolves were linked, pretty close together, and being a werewolf, like a death sentence. Someone says, hey, that guy's a werewolf. And not to mess around in Spain. Spain has a very rich history of werewolves. Some of the first stories of werewolves came out of Spain.
That makes sense as to why they would do it here then. And again, one of our guests says crazy, insane info. Now, Major Hazzard is zooming through the timeline now. And I want to point out that Terrence Fisher directed this, who went on to direct James Bond movies. And you'll see a lot of James Bond right here in this scene, because the guy that's letting this beggar into this festival for the marquee at the door is none other than Q himself. Okay, go to the next slide. Desmond Llewellyn.
And he looks so Spanish right there.
As Spanish as Connery looked in what the hell was that movie? There can be only one.
Oh, Highlander. Yeah.
Highlander.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had a brain fart there. Yes, that's Desmond Llewellyn. Q. Yeah, dude, be careful when you go inside, old boy. So he comes in and he meets the Marquis and his new bride. They're having a big party, big wedding party. And there's Anthony Dawson, another James Bond actor from Dr. No, who puts the tarantula in his room. And he looks like the kind of guy that would put a tarantula in your room. He's got a very kind of wicked look. So they make this guy dance for his supper. They get him plied on wine. And, there's that moment when you make that statement at the party that just kind of the record scratch, uh-oh.
Because yeah, you're right. He was in the clear. He had gotten
Yes.
booze. He had gotten food. And then the Marquis was going to retire for the evening, and he made the mistake of saying, "Have a good night."
Have a good night. But it's
that-
how he says it. Have a
I-
good night. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah.
I guess there was
So-
some implied familiarity there. That could have been an issue.
So then he gets the look. This is the look you get when you wink, wink, nudge, nudge, especially at a wedding party, and you haven't been invited. So into the dungeon he goes. But hey, he's got 3 squares a day. You know.
All right.
I mean,
So
he was living on the streets before.
and I want to make a note of that because the food that he was given at that big banquet, he was given
Yes.
more food as a prisoner. Like they hand him this
Yes.
giant meat shank when he's a prisoner, and it's bigger than he is. It's like a Flintstones
Yes.
rib that they give him in prison.
And that he gets from the jailer's daughter. This is him a couple of years later. He's starting to transform. He's starting to become more animal-like. And little mute girl. She's very cute. She likes to feed him. He's like her pet, which is funny because they say he's the pet of the wife of the wedding party too.
Never sees her
They make
again.
a point to say that, and we never see her again.
So obviously she was not thrilled that he was incarcerated. But look at that hunk of meat that he gets. That like
There's the shank.
I was salivating watching that. Like that looks delicious. But look at the back of his hands. I think that something is happening here. I think something's happening here that got lost in the editing room floor. I'm willing to bet that the beggar was born on Christmas Day.
Possibly.
And I'm willing to bet, and that comes up later, that he was born on Christmas. And in the American South, for a long time, it was fabled that no one else could be exactly 6 feet tall because Jesus was 6 foot tall. So no one else is exactly 6 feet tall. Jesus is exactly 6 feet tall. And if you share the same birthday with Jesus, you're trying to take his glory, and then you become evil, either a witch or a werewolf, or when you die, a vampire.
Perhaps Satan was born on the 25th too. Who knows? But yes, the back of his arms and the back of his hands are now extremely furry. He did not age well. He did not do well. She's aged a lot better. She looks very healthy. So she continues to feed him, and there's still a little bit of a humanity left in those eyes.
Yeah, but then he's there so long, he just goes feral.
Yes, and she's sent to the Marquis's bedroom. His wife is long gone. He's been without for a while. Got a little touch of that. The hell was that? Leprosy.
It does look like he has leprosy. Like, what happened to the poor guy?
Yes, I'm guessing he's got a little touch of leprosy. He's just starting to get it. So, he looks, hungry. So,
can you go back one real just to this? If he had made this elaborate card house when she first came in, and he was kind of hiding behind the card house like it was shutters, and he knocked it all down. And
yes,
I have a guess and a theory later, but go ahead.
No. Since we're at the card house now, by all means.
It's if you look at what Leon, who is the main character, played by Oliver Reed, what his father, they never mentioned what he does for work. It looks like he designs playing cards. And I think that there is a little bit of a turnaround in that.
Interesting.
The father figure of the werewolf is linked to one of the causes of what made him come to be in the first place.
You become a werewolf. So. Yes. Okay, so he goes for her just right away. No whine, no finesse, just come on, baby. And she bites him and gets away, and they grab her and put her back they throw her in the dungeon with the old guy, with the beggar. And he's salivating. And like you said, it appears that he has forgotten that she is his happy keeper who feeds him. So she wakes up the next day, and at least he died happy.
Well, Nothing explains like how he died. He just died looking like that,
No.
all twisted and broken. They don't
Yeah.
mention that. It looks like he fell from a great height, maybe. But like, why is he? How did he die? Did he? He's just I'm
They don't
spent,
say anything
and then
about
falls over dead. I
He might just be sleeping, you know. Isn't that what they say when you see a dead animal on the side of the road? He's just sleeping, honey.
Yes, I actually still say that to my wife.
So I'd like to think that he died because, you know, he had a good last night. Anyway, not good for her though. And she's sent back to the marquee, and he's looking like, hey, let's get to some poking here. And it's not the kind of poking that he expected.
And did the guard who let her in there just not see the giant shank she had behind her back?
I don't know where she grabbed it from.
I don't know why you've got that 18-inch knife, but go on in and see him. I didn't work out good last time, but I'm sure this will be better.
There you go. You know, he's a little on the kinky side, so yeah, all right, we'll allow it. And here we see that the most of his body is actually normal looking, except for his face, which is very gray and has a little leprosy on it.
Well, I think that's more of the art department, because if you looked at the prisoner, he wasn't covered in gray fur anywhere else, only from here to here, and
just the arms
and a bit on the face.
So she runs out into the woods to get away from all of that, and she lives out in the woods for a few months, and that's where she's found by Alfredo. And Alfredo's woman, who's ironically Teresa, and you could actually say she's a Mother Teresa, takes care of the mute girl and says, hey, there's going to be a baby in the house. There's going to be a little fur cub, a baby in the house.
Yes.
But she's also the one that brings up the superstition that if you're born on the 25th, it's unlucky, especially on an unwanted pregnancy.
That was a very widely held belief. If you're born on Christmas Day and that's your birthday, very unlucky, very, very bad juju for that birth date.
So there it is. Little Oliver Reed baby coming up here. And it is amazing how much this baby looks like Oliver Reed.
All babies either look like Winston Churchill or Yoda. Like there's only two types. It's Winston Churchill or Yoda. Not green, of course, but like the facial features.
But the facial features.
This is a Churchill baby, obviously.
And she looks at it and dies.
And it's like when she dies, it's like someone flips a switch. It's like,
yes.
Ugh. It just falls over dead.
Keels over. Yes.
There's something going around. That happened to the guy in the dungeon. That happened to her. It's terrible. They just fall over dead.
So Alfredo and Teresa take him to be baptized. They take the baby in as their own son. And at the baptism, things get kind of creepy. The baptism water's like rippling and moving away from the baby. And there's lots of thunder and lightning and creepy symbolism. And, you know, who puts that in a church? I mean, seriously.
Well, they see this monster face in the baptism pool, and the lights kind of flicker like outside.
Yeah.
And then from that, they're like, oh my gosh, what's that scary face? Aha, it's a reflection of the gargoyle. Although, like, that's how they wrote that off, but definitely not. That's not how reflections work.
Well, and the priest even mentions later that, you know, at that time, yes, it is easy for a demon to jump into the body. And this demon is particularly a werewolf, I think. So, Pepe, the local hunter, is trying to shoot what appears to be a wolf who is killing sheep in the area. Lambs and sheep. And he's not having much success. And a few nights later, little Leon, well, his dad has to take a bullet at him.
And
so,
there's a very common story in almost most cultures that had werewolves, where a soldier goes away and comes back, and his wife has become a werewolf, and he hears about the werewolf, and his wife says, don't worry about it. He goes out to hunt it, and he cuts the werewolf's hand off. He cuts the wolf's paw off. And
Mhm.
then when he goes back home, his wife has her hand all wrapped up in a bandage and she's missing a hand.
Ah,
And his wife was the werewolf. Like that's a very common Spanish, French,
ah.
Italian werewolf story traditionally. Um, and this is that. Whatever happens to the wolf, uh, those wounds get carried on to the person, which is it's an old take on it. Whereas
Uh-huh.
now any wound that happens just gets regenerated and the werewolf is fine. Like that is a change in the lore that has happened.
Well, yeah, there's actually a scene here where Pepe sees what looks like a wolf running around outside. It's not a little boy who looks like a werewolf running around, or a wolf man running around, which is what I expected to see. I hadn't seen this movie in a while. It looks like a dog or a wolf, and he shoots at it. And yeah, the father Alfredo's got to pull a slug out of his kid's leg. So
Yeah,
obviously, he shot him in the leg.
But then he didn't bring that up. He didn't say, "Hey Pepe, don't shoot my kid." You know, like that. he just kept, "I'm gonna keep it on the down low. I don't know why you got a bullet in your leg, but let's just not talk about it."
Well, and that's
That's
what Teresa's doing here. She's gone to Pepe's wife, and she's like, "Hey, is this one of your husbands?" "Oh yeah, this is one of my husbands. I'd recognize it anywhere."
Yep. Well, we found it, so have it back.
There you go. And then he goes to see the priest, and this is where the priest gives him the lowdown about the werewolf demon that's
Yes.
probably in his son right now.
Yes. And
So he says, your son needs love. Love will get him through this. So he builds bars on this. You know, nothing says love like bars on the windows. And I guess it's how you look at it.
I think Alfredo is smarter than he looks, and he's like, okay, Pepe shot a wolf. My kid's sweaty and has a unibrow, so he's probably a werewolf. Let's put bars on the windows and keep this from being a problem. Which it works. It helps.
This actually does the trick. I mean, it keeps him inside. Yeah, because Pepe goes and he takes his wife's crucifix, which is silver, and it's been blessed by I think she said it was the Monsignor blessed it himself, and he makes a silver bullet out of it. And man, is she pissed when she sees what it did to her crucifix.
This is
yeah, there it is.
And this is that like half transformation where you can't control yourself. There's this phase in Wolfmen. They have no control over their own actions, and they only have basically enough powers to get them in trouble. You know, it's not
right.
There's not any use to it.
I'm waiting for him to bite the father and the mother. It's like, oh God, what have we done?
He's just a hairy four-armed kid with an overbite who's trying to make his way in the world. That's all.
And I wish there was a scene where he turns his hands over, and yeah, there's fur underneath his forearm, on the underside, and his palms. And I wish that I'd put that in here. I forgot to put that in here.
Yeah,
because there's a scene later when he transforms where you see a lot more fur on his palms.
And hair on the palm was a very common sign. The unibrow is a very common sign of people being a werewolf. And also they took into account if your ring finger was longer than your middle finger, if your ring finger was longer than your middle finger, then you were a werewolf.
You were a werewolf.
And also,
you flip people off with your ring finger.
If all of your toes are on the same line, and there are several shapes to feet. You know, there's big toe, and then second toe is the longest, and then they descend. Some people have their big toe and they descend from there, and some people have very square feet. And there's that was deemed to be a werewolf.
Oh my God, I dated a werewolf in high school.
It was probably just a like racial slur against Greek people, because that square toes is normally a Greek feature.
Oh,
as is being a little hairier than normal sometimes. So that was another way to hate on a culture that was not yours, which was very popular back in the 15, 16, 17, 18, 1900s.
Well, the Turks were the ones that tried to convince everybody that Vlad Dracul was a vampire.
And the Germans, yes.
Yes.
Very, very good smear campaign.
All right. So after years and years and years, he grows up to be Oliver Reed, Leon, and very handsome young stout lad. And he goes on to the next town to get some work. and he gets some work working for a grouchy old man. That's actually Ewan Salon, a character actor for Hammer. He did several of the Hammer films. And he's going to have him bottle wine for him. And his daughter, hubba. Oh, good. There's bars on the windows. I like these. I need these.
Feels
his
like
daughter, comes over to see them. She's interested already. She's being given away to a local asshole. His name is Rico, of all names. Rico Suave, I call him. The roommate likes ancient porn.
Yes.
He makes a little porn for himself right there, flashing on the wall.
Shadow women. Yes. Doing a little dance.
There's the asshole I was talking about. She's in a carriage with him here. They're going home early because she's got a headache. Even back then, it was the excuse, ladies. Even back then. And of course, she's right into Oliver Reed's arms. I mean, who wouldn't be with that guy?
And the movie was very abrupt. And yes, now they're a thing and they're happening. There was no courtship.
Yes, it's like overnight.
Hello. It's like, now we're in love. Okay, they move fast.
Again, it's a short movie, so they gotta do these things fast. And then his roommate takes him out to the house where the naughty guys go the next night, and it's not his cup of tea. He's not having a good time, not to his liking. And the woman that he's with, wow, she's just wow. I can understand why. So he goes outside for some fresh air. It's a full moon, and one of the other bad girls comes after him outside, and she takes him to her room. Big mistake.
Yeah,
because there's a great view of the full moon.
And how do you mistake like those eyes for lust? All right, if this is your lust look, you're doing it wrong. But obviously, there's so much acting going on, and Oliver Reed has such a huge presence. So he is doing a lot with his face and with his eyes to show I'm crazy right now, and things are not about to go well.
Yes.
And I think he does a good job of showing that.
Yes, agreed. Again, there's that great view of the moon behind her tureen there, and he bites her, and so he's kinky, and he does a lot worse than that. He rips her throat out. So now it's the taste of blood. Now he's becoming the werewolf, fully becoming the werewolf. He kills his roommate. Why did you bring me here? And then he goes down back to his hometown, which is next door, not far away, and he kills the bitchy shepherd.
Who is drunk. All right, so what we obviously were condensing, but Pepe, when he was trying to find the wolf, he ends up shooting that shepherd's dog.
He ends up shooting his dog, yes, and he's very upset about that.
He was running around, and when he gets kicked out of the bar in that scene, the bartender's like, "You've been complaining about losing that dog for 13 years." And he goes, "That was the best dog I ever had." And then Oliver Reed just jumps on him, which was great.
And Oliver Reed takes him out.
Couldn't happen
and
to
he
a
ends
better
up,
guy.
He ends up back in his old bed, and his dad's like, "Hey, Leon's home." Wow, he really wanted to come home. He broke into the window, and there's blood on his hands. So now he gets dressed really quickly. He goes back to the other town because he's worried about Christina, and right into the laws of the popo, the long arms of the popo, I should say. They're waiting for him. They want to ask him some questions. That night, there's another full moon. He wants Christine to stay away. Get away, get away. She comes in, and he realizes, hey, this is the woman that can save me.
Because he thinks that love is the way to control that inner beast.
Yes.
This is...
What say you?
It's a bit of a reverse Beauty and the Beast story. In that meeting his love is what keeps him from turning into the beast in the first place.
Yes.
And that's kind of, that's one way that relationships work. There's the one which is the beast and Belle, and he is a beast and she tames him. This is the opposite of that, where without her he becomes a beast. And there's a lot of power in that story. And love and just not having a heart where evil can take hold is one of the ways that you stop those things from happening before. Babies don't know any different, and that's why when they're being baptized and you're opening them up to spirits, this is a vessel. As soon as you say that, you say this is a vessel, something can jump in. And they kind of alluded to that before. This is a vessel, fill it with God, and then they dunk the baby. But
well, I'm a werewolf demon. I need a vessel.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you said
his dad was a hairy guy.
Right. Exactly. So they have a couple different mixed origins, and I think they're going with a little of column A and a little of column B as far as how he became this werewolf. But this werewolf,
on the side.
Them showing that he ripped through iron bars, this is one of the more powerful werewolves in cinema because he ripped through those iron bars in order to get in through that window.
Right.
Obviously, he couldn't break them as a kid, and most werewolves chain themselves up in order to not hurt anybody.
Right.
Obviously, that's not going to work with him. And
not now. Not now.
He knows
he's become older and stronger. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, let's run away. And I got a feel for her. Like, this is not going to go well, I don't think. And luckily, the police stop him before he gets out. And they take him to jail. And they put him in jail with, this is a character actor, Michael Ripper, in the background there. He's been in a lot of Hammer stuff, too. I went to high school with a guy like this, and he was a douche, too. Just saying. Anyway, so he's like, hey, don't I get my one, messenger boy to go to my father, my lawyer?
Yeah, my free phone call. Can you send someone?
Yeah, you get a messenger boy back then. There's no phones. So she's looking for him at the wine factory there. And, of course, she gets her father and Rico Suave, who come in. And they're like, yeah, we know about it. We got him put in jail. Which, tells you what really happened there. It was a political play. She's defiant. She's like, I'm going to go to him. I love him. Nobody's told her that he's a werewolf yet. She has no idea yet that he's got a werewolf demon in her. She just grabs the carrot. She's got a demon in her herself. She just takes that coach and just roars off with it to go to his jail, to his prison cell. And his father brings the priest and the local, I guess you would say he's the magistrate, the guy who's the head of the town there, the mayor, kind of. They bring him to see Leon, and he makes him show him his teeth. Come on, show me your teeth.
This is such a weird scene because it's almost like they're about to let him out because the father is saying, listen, we know how to help him. We know what helps him, let him out so there's not problems. And then the magistrate guy looks like he's on the cusp of doing that.
Yes.
Up until
Christina shows up. And she says, he's my man. He's perfect. There's nothing wrong with him. Ixnay, honey.
Yeah. Because she's like, oh, he's a normal guy. He just murders people. Okay, fine. And that's when he flips his switch. He goes, no, you're staying here. We're not going to let you out to go seek help.
We're going to set a date for the trial. So as a last effort to save Christina, because he knows what's going to happen, he says, Dad, go back and get Pepe's silver bullet. Go home, get Pepe's silver bullet. Let's put an end to it. And the priest is like, hey, I'm available for free penance on the weekend. Come see me. That's what this picture looks like. I'm sorry.
You did make that creepier than it needed to be. Yes.
Again, that picture looks just like that. Anyway, so he has been little help in this movie. Little pious, not much help, other than giving him the fact that there's a werewolf demon in the sun. Another beautiful full moon. This is what happens when you get stuck in a jail cell with Oliver Reed and he can't get a drink. Oh, I had to go there. Oliver Drink had a drinking problem in the late 60s, early 70s. Anyway, so here we have
I don't think he got better. Because I think they said he died during the movie Gladiator while they were filming that.
Right. They had to do CGI to fix it.
One of the stories is that he went in because they were filming in Mexico. He went into a bar. He did 5 shots of tequila and fell over dead.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
At least he died doing what he loved.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. Now these hands. Okay. Now as a creature creator, I'd like to get your opinion on these hands.
Okay. These are rough. Let's just say that these are rough, but because obviously
They look kind of monkeyish.
if you were turning into a wolf man, then I think you would have a little bit of the dog pad happening in the palm of your hand. And he does not have that. The fingernails have gone all the way black. But they're a little monkeyish. I think they're a little shorter than normal. So maybe that's a mix of paw. They do look, I don't think they should have hair all the way in the palms. I know that that's a classic sign of being a werewolf, and they're sticking with some old story information here, but I don't think that was the look they should have gone for.
Kids, this is what happens when you masturbate. Don't do it, okay? Just so we get the reaction shot. You can put any joke you want in here. Green-eyed, sweaty man joke.
One of the things that bothers me with most werewolf training film transformations is that they'll show a fully transformed hand, and then the face is just like this. The face just like this. Where it's like nothing has happened to his face.
The hands transform first. We all know this.
It just starts with the hand.
It's the hands and the feet that go first, and then here we go. We get a little more fur going on. And there's Michael Ripper. There's a good shot of him before he gets killed.
It's just a bad day. Wrong place.
He's got a nice raspy voice like this. Great character actor. Anyway, yeah. And here's another thing that's interesting to me anyway about this werewolf transformation is that this werewolf prosthetic that they have on him, he has no eyebrows. There's no fur on his forehead at all.
The eyebrow hair receded. And Oliver Reed's head, like normal Oliver Reed, is about 1/4 eyebrow. So the fact that there's no eyebrows makes him look really alien.
Now, he has dark brown hair here. Here's my next question in the transformation. And you know what I'm going to say next.
Why is it all gray?
And all of a sudden, he's a platinum blonde werewolf. What's going on here?
I think that's gray. That's a very natural look. So on the Wolfman, the hair that they used was yak hair.
Mm-hmm.
And this hair on this werewolf makeup is a caracal wool. And it's from a Spanish type of sheep, actually.
Okay.
And so this wool it's gray. It's a very natural fiber. It's a very coarse fiber. A lot of wool looks fuzzy when you look at it, and it kind of blends together. And this is coarse enough where if you look at that shot, the light is bouncing off of each individual fiber, and you can really see the texture in it. It's a beautiful look.
He's literally a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yes, he is literally a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Okay, and there we go with the red eyes again.
Yeah, and I don't even see in the first shot you showed, you could see the edges of the contacts. In this shot, I don't really even see the edges of the contacts. But I think they added the red under his eyes in order to make up for when he had the contacts in. This silhouette of the 2 little ears up on top of the head, is very strong, and it was new. This didn't happen for any other character. And they use this silhouette of the 2 ears on top of the head and transferred over to Universal Wolfman merchandise. So some of the Wolfman Universal model kits have those 2 little ears up on top.
Okay.
If you look at the art and those things.
This movie was created by Hammer Films, but was released internationally by Universal International.
And they blended those looks a little bit in order to get you something that you would like.
I remember the werewolf kit from Aurora. Yeah, having kind of like you said, they kind of added a little bit of this and a little of that. Yeah.
But this look here with the ripped white shirt set the look for the gothic romance werewolf, the gothic romance wolfman. So it is acceptable now to have a wolfman who is in flannel, because lumberjacks are apparently ripe for attack
Right.
by
Lucaroos.
werewolves, right? Or the shredded white shirt. And
Yes.
that strength of that is solely from Curse of the Werewolf Oliver Reed.
Right. It's
And
a great look.
He's just I tend to lend towards this look because I'm a wide person and he is a very bulky, hulking werewolf.
Yes.
And that helps out me, who has a little bit of extra,
A little girth. Understood. I'm there with you.
But it's a good look. It's a powerful silhouette. And this fixed all of the strangling that happens in very early werewolf movies. Because there's slashing, there's blood, and they show his claws kind of as weapons.
Right.
But yeah, very strong, powerful werewolf, and it follows the tradition of Wolfman Underbite. Yes.
As far as the slashing, yeah, Hammer actually set the tone for that. Their films were very bloody, and they got X ratings in England for that. So which means you had to be an adult to go watch, one of the Hammer horror films, because I mean, there's the shot in Curse of Frankenstein where he gets shot in the eye and the blood coming out of the hand on the face and everything. I mean, just this stuff like that, completely, people getting their heads and arms and stuff chopped off. Hammer was pretty gory horror for its time. So, and again, this is a very like you said, it's the first time that we really see a bloody werewolf with bloody fangs and
he's beastly. He can do some damage. He's
Yes.
also very athletic when they show him running around later.
So, do you think he's going to get out of here? Is that a safe bet? Yeah.
And they've already shown he could rip through the bars,
He took the whole door off. Yeah. And beat the guard with it.
That's the way to go. That's style.
Yes. So, and this is the look when your boyfriend's mom tells you that he's a werewolf. Very expressive. So Alfredo gets there and he's like, "What happened?" And they're like, "Well, just what you said was going to happen. He turned into a werewolf and now he's amok. He's all over the place."
Amok.
There's a lot of jumping around up on buildings in this too as a werewolf. Is he a werecat?
Parkour. I think that they were just showing the agility, and there's kind of there's a gothic tradition of the monster being up high. I mean, if you look at King Kong, Kong up high. If you look at Hunchback, he's up
Hunchback
there.
in Notre Dame. We got a lot of that from this.
And this is in kind of in that vein. It is a place where they don't have to spend the money. They don't have to spend the money of having a bunch of attacks because the people are on the ground. The audience is on the ground. If he was running through them, he would have to kill a bunch of them. Yeah. So it's a good device to have him removed from them in some kind of a setting, and having him be up on the rooftops where he can leap and make cool shadows is just a cool thing to do.
Bridget, one of our fans, Bridget says, "Would you rather be a werewolf or a vampire?" I know his answer.
Mine is werewolf. Yeah,
Yes.
Werewolves are, in my mind, cooler than vampires, because I can't guarantee that vampires are going to smell good all the time.
They're always sleeping in their Mother Earth,
and they're dead, So
and they're dead.
Perfume only does so much.
I gotta agree with you. I think I would probably be better off as a werewolf than a vampire. So and again, you can lock yourself up. You can find ways to lock yourself up and keep yourself from, hurting people. Whereas a vampire, I don't think so.
It's like a werewolf. If you don't like it, it's 3 bad days a month.
There you go.
That's relatable to a lot of the population.
There you go.
Okay. All I'm going to say.
Well said. Okay, so here's some more. I had to get as many shots of the werewolf as I could here because again, he's only in the movie for 10 minutes.
And he's gorgeous.
He's great. He's great looking. So there he is up high. Christina shows up. You got to be with her man. She's gonna probably regret this, and he sees her, of course. So this might be, a bad idea.
And he's just one of the nicest dressed werewolves.
Yeah, with the shirt ruffles.
He has
The ruffles.
a red sash, a ruffly shirt.
He's ready for the prom.
He's wearing
a
skinny
prom
jeans.
werewolf.
He's kind of has skinny jeans going, but that's okay.
So he is about to pounce on her, and what happens? The townspeople show up. And they ruin everything. He's about to bounce on her, and the townspeople show up, ruin everything. It's a great mob, too, by the way. One of the better mobs in movies, in monster movies, I think.
A quality Hammer mob, yes.
It's a quality Hammer mob. I want a shirt that says that. I'm part of the quality Hammer mob. Christina's there. Alfredo's there. The mom's about to show up, Teresa, because she realized, oh, my God, Christina ran out. She's going to go to the werewolf.
And all that he has to do is jump down and wreck shop on all these people. You know, that's all that he has to do. And I think the storytelling device that they use that like sets him. Do you have a shot of the bells on next?
It's coming up in a slide or two.
Gotcha. Yeah, but look at that look. That's a very powerful. He's looking down on them, both physically. He's physically above them, but he is above them in his physicality. You know, he's stronger than any of them there. If he jumped down there with them, he would just tear them to shreds.
Yes.
Not a chance.
That would be a mob well eaten.
Yes, delicious mob.
Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Yeah, now he's made his way to the church, I think. And there's the wonderful mob that I was talking about. You know, a few torches, a lot of people. There's the mother. Mother Teresa's there finally.
They could use a few more pitchforks. But it's a good mob.
But it's a good mob. Pitchforks were really good in the old Frankenstein movies. Okay, so Alfredo decides he's going to go into church after him. Now is his chance. He's got the rifle. He's got the silver bullet in the rifle. The musket, I guess it is. He runs into the church. Another guy runs into the church and starts ringing the bell to distract the werewolf, which is really a good idea, actually.
It's a super good idea. If he has heightened hearing and heightened senses, then that's really going to get to him.
Yes. Because animals, they freak out when they hear really strange sounds.
And super loud, super wide, tough-looking wolfman. Quality wolfman.
Yes. So I think the next slide is actually him reacting to the bells ringing. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Is not happy.
That's his bell face.
He's not happy. Oh, man. Ouch. What the hell? Stop it. The bells, they taunt me. So, yeah, Alfredo gets up there. Leon sees him just as he pulls the gun up. And he fires.
This is the big tradition of a wolfman, a cursed werewolf, because he's obviously very cursed. Can only be killed by someone that loves them. Like that pops up. Yeah, that pops up in werewolf myth. What if you don't love them, but you have a silver bullet? You know, what if you went on like a date once and you have a silver knife? You know, I think that it's a weird device, but it has to be someone close to them.
I think it was the guy that created the Wolfman for Universal, Kurt Siodmak, that came up with that, because it is in the first Wolfman. His father kills him with a silver tip cane, silver handled cane, and it's in House of Dracula, I believe, where the gypsy girl who loves him, she shoots him with a silver bullet as he attacks her, and they both die together. Supposedly, but he's back in the next film. So
he got better.
Oh no, it must have been Frankenstein. It must have been House of Frankenstein. That's what it was, because he came back for House of Dracula after.
Right.
Shot him with a silver bullet. He got better. So he shoots him right in the heart. More symbolism there. Why don't you just shoot me in the heart? Why don't you, Dad? So yeah, he crumples up on the floor in the corner. And just keep zinging through these.
It was also Larry Talbot's dad who killed him with the silver-headed cane.
Right.
You know,
so they hear the shot, and immediately the whole crowd goes into the church. Like, what if he missed?
yeah.
Yeah, the werewolf's gonna tear them all up if he missed. They all go running into the church. I love that.
No
hey,
body
I heard
flew
a
out the
shot. He must have
window.
shot him.
Yeah, must be good.
So Leon stays on the floor, and here's another good, interesting thing. His father puts his cape over him. He doesn't change back into Leon. He stays a werewolf. That's one of the few times in these movies they stayed the werewolf at the end when they die.
That is very rare, and monster hunters all over fear killing a bunch of werewolves and then having to explain how you come out have all these dead naked people around.
Exactly.
That's
well, they were naked.
And why are the blood in his nostrils?
Not sure.
This is just a leaky werewolf. He's got the red bloody eyes. He's got red bloody nostrils. It doesn't look terrible, you know.
Maybe he did a little blood toot.
It's but it's bloody nostrils.
Yes. That's the first I've noticed that. You noticed that right out of the gate. That's the first time I've actually realized that he's got bloody nostrils.
And this is just a shot straight up his nose. and you can see the
and I still didn't notice it.
The fur carpet that is his chest.
And see, the only two smart girls in this movie stayed outside are Teresa and Christina. So, and that's it. That's the Curse of the Werewolf. Clifford Evans, who played Alfredo, this got top billing. And the servant girl, who was his mom, Werewolf's mom. Yeah, she gets third billing after Oliver Reed. Surprising. I guess she was a bigger actress at that time. So let's bring Major Hazzard back up. We'll make our closing statements about the Curse of the Werewolf.
It was very informative. Thank you so much. Alan Hops, of course, is the premier guest that we could ever have for something like that. So thank you so much, Alan, for being here. The cadets love you.
A lot of great historical tidbits this time.
Yes, very many.
Surprising facts about Spanish werewolf history.
He knows everything. He knows everything.
Old world werewolf tale is what this is. This is very old world. So
very good. More. So, and again, this is one of your favorite movies, one of your favorite werewolf movies.
Absolutely.
But mostly based on the design of the werewolf. Am I right?
Yes, the design of the werewolf, the look, and while Lon Chaney Jr. is a good actor, this was freaking Oliver Reed, you know, and really this added a lot of weight and acting bravado to werewolves and Wolfman movies. So an actor of this caliber hasn't really kicked in again until Wolf and Jack Nicholson did it.
Yeah, you got to admit, sometimes when you're watching Lon Chaney Jr. do Larry Talbot, it goes a little, off the tracks. Oh, you gotta believe me, I turn into a wolf at night.
It's rough.
It's not easy.
But when he becomes the Wolfman, oh man. Especially in Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman is my favorite movie with Lon Chaney as the Wolfman. He is just so vicious in that. I love it.
He is much more so. And then you get Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein, where he is not as vicious and and cannot catch someone in a closed hotel room.
We're gonna have to do that movie and invite you and our Frankenstein expert and our Dracula expert all for the same show. That is going to be a fun time.
What a mess that'll be. Do you have a hunchback expert? Because there's a hunchback nurse in that.
You and 40,000 other guys. I turn into a wolf at night. I think that's an actual line from that movie.
It is.
You and 40,000 other guys. I'm a bad boy. So thank you again for joining us to talk about the Curse of the Werewolf. Major Hazzard, do we have anything else that we need to discuss?
Well,
as far as any shows coming up, or
We just want to mention that we do have Suicide Prevention Month here at Cosmos TV, that all month long we'll be doing different activities for that. And then the next time you'll see us is this Thursday at 6 p.m.
We're going to be doing Plan 9 from Outer Space.
A classic, total classic
in color.
training film. Love it.
In color. And I want to thank Alan for calling it a training film earlier. I appreciate that.
I noticed that. That was so wonderful. Thank you, Alan. Thank you.
He's on board. He understands.
He understands the situation. Yes. He understands.
So, and also Thursday night is No AC with Dritta coming on after our show.
Yes.
We've got the game show. So You Think You Know Me coming up Sunday.
Sunday at 10 p.m. That's right. And Rory Penland, our good friend Rory Penland, has an event that he told you about coming up in October.
It's coming up in that. Well, again, this upcoming Saturday, the 17th, he'll be talking about suicide awareness and his particular situation. The October event is up in Lake City, Florida. Rory Penland showing off his art, and he's going to do his 800 Voices show on the last Friday night of October, and his Elvis show for the last Saturday of October this year.
I happen to have an Elvis werewolf behind me. Do you see that?
Really? No, you have to pull your camera up to show us up close so we can see it.
There it is.
I can see what looks like it might be a pompadour. Yeah.
Definitely has a pompadour.
There you go.
That's
all right, there we go.
Elvis werewolf happening.
Oh, that's a hunk of burning love right there.
His mouth looks a little weird because he has a moving jaw. So when the person wears it, they can sing "Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog" to their heart's
Thank
delight.
you. Thank you much.
Yes. Thank you for your modeling skills. I appreciate that, ladies.
That's your own personal Vanna White there.
Right.
I'll spin the werewolf for 5,000. Okay, thank you again. Everybody, if you haven't caught Burn It Down with Tom Cheshire this week, you should catch that. It was an awesome show this week. And take care. And thank you, Wolfy. I hope to see you again real soon. And
Absolutely.
We'll keep an eye out for those big monsters.